Hey everybody, my name is Anthony from Lab Games, here with my wife Frances.
Hello.
And we are joined by our wonderful friends that we're joined with every couple weeks where we get together, have a panel, and we talk about board games. This week's topic is going to be solo games, which we are definitely not the pros at it. That's why we hauled in all the pros
experts
once again. And new to the group this week is Mike from Boardgames for One. You want to give us a nice intro, Mike?
Hey, howdy. Not much to say. I'm Mike. Channel is Board Games for One. I play board games for one. I hope I can be interesting. There you go. Pleasure to be here. It's good to actually meet y'all face to face.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in, Mike. How about you, Branden? We'll go to you next.
Yeah, I'm Branden with All Aboard Gamer. Got to give you the whistle blow. And we are All Aboard Gamer everywhere you can find us. Hello. Nice to see everybody again.
Awesome. Allie.
Hi, I'm Allie from the Family Meeple, and you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the places.
All right, and finally, last but not least, Mr. Gary.
Yes, I'm Gary. I come to you from Indianapolis, Indiana, also known as Fetigator.
Board Gamer Gary.
Board Gamer Gary. I used to be on Man vs. People. Now I just do solo. I'm just an independent kind of guy. I just kind of go around and I just invade everybody else's streams and talk about games. But no, it's awesome to be here.
He's a Discord lurker and a stream.
That's
stream
right.
Hacker. Yeah,
that's right. You see me out there.
Yeah, he lurks. All right, so we're talking solo gaming, which was, incidentally, is my original theme of the channel was solo. That's what I did. I played games solo. Now that's how.
Put a stop to that.
She did, and honestly,
Solo Cup.
that is so.
There you go.
Yeah, so since Francis joined the channel, I haven't really done much soloing. I miss it, but I don't miss it. So there's goods and bads, right? With soloing, you don't get that real live opponent. There's a lot of games that don't have solo mode, so you kind of either have to use a variant or you just don't play it, right? And I used to always be disappointed in the fact that there were games that I could not play solely because I didn't have someone to play with, right? So it's like if you can't solo it, but nowadays it's like become almost like just out of the box. There's usually a solo mode, which is pretty interesting. Or expansion wise, they'll add those onto it. So I thought that was pretty cool. But we're gonna talk about a bunch of different titles today. These are games that are either in retail or have been out a while, but they're accessible games you can get your hands on, right? Games that you've probably played recently, at least the group has, and we have a lot of good things to say. So I think, as we were teasing before, are we gonna start with Allie?
Yes, let's start with Allie.
So what game do you want to talk about today, Allie?
All right, well, I will start out with Everdell, and specifically talking about one of the newest expansions, Mistwood. So Everdell has been out for a while, and I know probably a lot of people are familiar with it. The original base game includes a solo mode, which is, I think it's called the Rugwort solo mode. And it's very, very, very simple. And you go out and you block very specific spots on the board each season. And then he will block off cards in the meadow every season. And it's okay. But I felt like sometimes you'd have a card in the meadow that then it gets buried and it's not cycling at all. And so it becomes very challenging to try to work around that, particularly with the base game objective cards or those special events where you're searching for specific cards in order to meet those. And if they're buried underneath in that meadow, you're just like never going to find them. But it's fine. The original solo mode is fine. And I've played it a couple times. It's pretty fun. You can also play it on the digital app version, which I've played it quite a bit there. I always lose. I'm like not very good at it. But the newest expansion, one of the ones that came out on the most recent Kickstarter and one that was included in the complete collection that I backed, is Mistwood. And so Mistwood introduces a spider character called Nightweave. And so for people who have played a lot of Everdell, including some of the expansions, there were these like giant critter meeples in, which one was that? Spirecrest, I think.
Yep.
And so they have this spider that's basically the same size as those big critters. And then you have all these little spiderling meeples. And so usually you'll have 6 characters that you get to play throughout the game. And the spiders come with 8. So Nightweave has herself to go out and block the meadow. And then she also has 8 meeples by the end of the game in the last like fall season to go out and block spaces out in the board or block, buildings in your city as well. And Nightweave is run by an AI deck, which is one of my favorite types of solo modes, is playing off of an AI deck. For worker placement in particular, it works really well because you flip over a card and it will tell you, where to put out the worker, which space to block, or which action to take. So on the Nightweave solo decks, you can either place out a meeple or it'll have you play a card into Nightweave City. So they're building up their own city and they're going out and blocking spaces. And then sometimes it'll tell you to play Nightweave into the meadow, which sort of simulates kind of what Rugwort did, where she'll go out and she'll take that card and build it into her city, and then she'll block that meadow spot until she goes and prepares for the next season. So I've played it once so far. They have 5 difficulty modes, and I played on the easiest one, which is called Tame. And so she doesn't earn any like victory point coins throughout the game, and she doesn't earn points at the end for some of her cards, just to make it simpler. And I managed to beat her by 1 point, which is not that great considering that was the easiest mode, and I just barely pulled it out. But yeah, it was pretty good. The actions, there's a lot going on, and there were several times where I had to go and look back at the rule book to say, okay, what does she do then? If she's already in the meadow, does she move again, or what happens? So there was a little bit of kind of rules checking, but that's not unusual for your first play on a solo, because you're, again, trying to learn it yourself potentially, and then trying to learn the AI actions. Because it's card-driven deck, it's actually pretty smooth. You just flip a card and do what it tells you based on what season she's in. So yeah, that was my first one, Everdell Mistwood. Cool. It's definitely better than the original solo mode.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Do you know, Allie, can you incorporate that AI into like a 2-player game?
Yes. You can. Yep.
You can.
It works for solo and it works for 2-player.
That's what I've been looking out for that too, because although we don't play a lot of solo independently, there are a ton of games, and Everdell is actually one of them that I think can benefit from a little tweaking in the 2-player mode because of those things you mentioned, where like you might be hunting for a card and you're just not cycling through enough with just 2 people. So I'm always really curious about these like solo modes that are actually an AI that can be built into a 2-player as well. Yeah, it's pretty good. And like if Nightweave or one of her like spiders goes to your city and plays on one of your open constructions, you get a coin for it. Okay, so it really is like simulating an actual player.
Yeah, because in the other mode, Rugwart's characters never went into your city. He just blocked stuff in the meadow and blocked areas predictably in the worker placement spaces. But yeah, Nightweave will send people into your city and you'll get coins for it and all kinds of fun stuff. But yeah, I liked it. It's, like I said, better than the original solo mode. Hey, Lexi.
That's cool. Hey. What are you eating, Lex?
That looks like ice cream.
Sorry, I just muted. No. Oh. What is that? Oh, it's cheesecake.
It's cheesecake.
Oh.
Ooh, even better.
She makes homemade cheesecake and it's so good. Oh,
nice. Eating, and I ate a whole bunch of crap there too. So
yeah, she just got back from a meeting.
Nice.
All right, when am I invited over, Lexi? I want some cheesecake.
You know what? Yeah. Here's how great her cheesecake is. Mistwood's fantastic. Well, I haven't played it yet, but I can't wait because it does have Francis. I don't want to get off topic, Francis, because cheesecake is its own topic. We were excited about the 2-player thing as well. Like I don't like Ghost. Third players, like I don't like 2-player variants where you just get this ghost player that just rushes everything along. This looks a lot different because of that AI control, which is so much better. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with Allie on that one. Cheesecake. I do not like New York style cheesecake. I like Cheesecake Factory, but I like something other than New York style because I always find it dry. She makes a New York style cheesecake that is killer. It is out of this world.
Is this like, when you say New York style, is that like the thick cheesecake,
thick,
or is it like
white,
a dense,
the graham cracker that you can put cherries on top? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
The straight New York style. The key is
not over mixing the batter.
Don't over mix the batter.
You have to put it in a water water bath.
You have to put it in a water bath.
I was gonna say yes. I was gonna.
And it
ask
has
for
to
that.
cool very slowly. If it cools too
Okay.
fast, it gets dry and cracked.
Yes.
Cracked. Yeah.
There you
So
go.
anyway, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. She has
Love it.
perfected it. I love it. I get it once or twice a year, and I just love it. You're eating the rest of it. All right. Sorry. You can cut this out if you want to.
No, this is good. We all
This is very
all
important.
Radio
Yeah,
gold
this
right
is-
here.
My knowledge of cheesecake is I walk down to like Dollar General. There we go.
There you go. Wow, Dollar General cheesecake.
Dollar
That's-
General
classy.
cheesecake. Yummy.
I
Standard
go
Diller
for
right
high-end.
here.
Yeah, really.
So,
Wow. All right, so that was
Awesome.
Everdell Mistwood. That's I think we're all interested.
I'm
At
on
least
board,
I know.
yeah.
I know we are. I know.
Yeah, and they have
a
bunch-
Board.
They have a
Yeah.
bunch more content in that box too. So like
Yes.
you have just the regular AI deck for Nightweave, but then you can also give her like personalities or plots or plans.
okay.
And so you'll have and I didn't play with those because those are optional and I was like, let's just try this base first. But you can add it in where like she has special abilities or special things that she'll do.
Yeah.
So like the little web tokens, she'll put those out and block things or make it harder for you to take different cards in the meadow depending where she's at or all kinds of different things.
And
And,
they're
you're
all-
supposed to be able
they're
to play
all-
it with all the expansions.
Yeah. And all of her
cool.
special abilities start with the letter N. So like Nefarious Nightweave or
Oh,
Like,
little
it's-
alliteration in there.
alliteration. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And you pick one, and that's her special thing that she does, and there's a whole deck of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Oh,
Did that come in
definitely,
that?
Putting
Did
that
that
on
come in
my
that
list.
complete ultimate collection, or is this okay?
It's part of the Mistwood expansion.
Mistwood.
So if you find Mistwood, you don't have to have the complete collection. It'll come in the Mistwood box.
Okay,
Cool.
Yep.
that's
I mean,
awesome.
it's
You
man.
can connect
It's
that
like a
just with the base
stack of
game.
cards.
You don't need all the other expansions
You don't.
underneath
Nope.
it. Okay.
Just the base
No,
game
'cause
or
New
you can
Leaf-
use all
New
the
Leaf-
expansions.
New Leaf and Mistwood were the two new expansions that just happen to come with the complete collection, but you
Yeah.
can buy
Yeah.
those separately on your own. You don't need one to have the other.
Cool.
That sounds awesome.
Awesome. All right.
All right, so
One game that
was-
Allie and I agree on, I think, is Everdell.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, we
Just
agree
the
on
one?
some.
I know we do. Everdell is one, though.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, so we'll jump to Mike next. You can tell us what solo game you want to talk about tonight.
All right, we'll start with the easy one that won't start any fires.
Okay.
So
Sure.
that's we'll start fires with the last one. But Wingspan Asia, as soon as you mentioned like the coming to retail, one that's I had watched one of your past panels and you guys talked about the bird games and Allie had mentioned how like Wingspan was not even like the bird theme didn't appeal. Well, that was the bird theme does nothing but deter me. But of course, for solo play, Wingspan, just the base game is such a good introduction for kind of a serious solo automa opponent, right? You learn how an AI opponent works in that game. There are some that do it a little easier, but it's kind of like a gateway to learning automa. So when I saw Wingspan Asia, which I mean, I ended up loving it. Like, even though I'm not into birds, I can play that game any day. But multiplayer too. But Asia, they did something neat, and it should interest Anthony and Francis, or I guess even Branden, you and Lexi, Allie, but because they have the 2-player mode. So Wingspan Asia is basically 3 different modes. One is it's a standalone expansion, so you can play just Wingspan Asia, which I think is cool. It's nice when you can buy just the expansion, don't need the base game. So you can play that, and it's just a solo mode. And then it introduces. I'll have to pull it up again. I had it up here. Let's see, the 2-player mode. Yeah, there we go. And it looks like it's coming out the first few days of December, so pretty soon here, coming to retail.
Okay.
But the
might be a tax for that.
2-player, so you can play it solo, and if you have someone that you want to play it with, the duet mode. I'm not sure if that duet mode is exclusive to Asia or if it can be used with the other games. I assume it's exclusive to Asia.
You can
But
mix
that's-
it with everything else.
You can mix it with. I mean, that's like
Yeah,
brilliant.
you can mix it with all of the other cards and everything.
Okay, and same with solo. You can mix all of the. You can mix Asia with the base games, and then it can also make it a 6 to 7 player game. I don't know why you would want to do that with Wingspan, but that sounds terrible. That's a long
Yeah,
game
it's a long
of
game.
6 people playing solitaire. That's the other thing. Wingspan is multiplayer.
It very
solitaire.
much is, yeah.
Yeah, a little
I don't
interaction.
know.
But so I know very little because I've been avoiding watching any videos on it because I want the opening. I want to know when I open it. I want to see what is the experience like if you get this for solo, from opening the box to starting it. So I haven't watched anything else on that, but just super excited for it.
Cool.
Yeah, I've
I'm
got
wondering
it.
if this expansion
Or
is more
this side.
expensive. Yeah,
In my
I
big
think
box.
it's 45.
Yeah, is
Yeah,
it because it can be
39
played
right now.
standalone? You can actually play
Standalone,
this standalone without the base game?
Yeah,
I think that's why, 'cause it has the
Wow.
boards.
$39. I'm sorry, it's
Wow.
$39.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
has the boards
Oceania
in
was
it.
about that, wasn't it?
Yep. I think.
And I think it'll come down over
Yeah, I'm
time
sure.
as it's
Well,
been
I
out
didn't
a little
realize
while.
I didn't realize it had all those modes, and it had like you don't need the base game. You can just buy that and play it standalone. Like that clearly
Right.
is the reason. Then, yeah.
Unless you want to play
Yeah.
6 to 7 player,
Right, right.
that
Then
one
you need the base
requires
game.
the base
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But again,
and the
don't do that.
board is double-sided that you get in the Asia expansion. So the first side is a new illustration, but it's basic, like base game Wingspan, what you're used to. And then if you flip it over, it includes the Oceania with the Nectar. So you could play it with Oceania even without the base game.
Now, is it the same? Is it the exact same board as Oceania?
I think it is. Yeah.
Do they include the Nectar in this?
No, it's just in case you had the expansion already, then you could play it,
Okay.
incorporate it with Asia. So you could theoretically buy Asia and Oceania and just play with those two and not have to have the base game at all.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
You'd still be limited to 2 players, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say. Yeah.
yeah, and it
But a
comes
lot
with
of
white
times,
and black pieces.
a lot of people that play solo, the next mode up is usually 2 players. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Unless
Neat.
things happen
Alright.
really fast.
Yeah.
So that looks pretty good. Yeah, definitely.
Oh wow. So Oceania is on Amazon right now for $16.99, by the way, as a Cyber Monday
Pick it up.
deal if anybody's interested.
43.
That is,
up.
that is a really good deal.
Yeah, that's
That's a
big
really
deal.
good deal. Pick it up.
Really good.
We would, but we'd never play it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No? You
We
guys
haven't
don't
played
like
Wingspan. We haven't played it probably since the first year it came out. I think we played it a handful of times, and that was it.
Oh,
Lost
I
its
didn't think I
luster.
would like it at all, and played it at 5 players and was like, okay, that's actually pretty good despite the theme.
Yeah.
And then went home and kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and finally just ordered it. And it's now I think my second or third most played game ever.
Oh,
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of landed that, and I played multiplayer too, and I liked it, but it's multiplayer with very calm people, maybe that aren't. They want that solitaire experience, but
Yeah,
Wingspan
yeah.
is just it just leans for solo players. It's just made for it.
Yeah, it works really well. And they have there's an app on GitHub where it'll run the AI deck for you too.
Oh, that's
So you
cool.
can just
Yeah.
like click your button and it'll flip your next card and it calculates the AI score for you and does all of the maintenance, which is super
cool.
handy.
Yeah, that's real cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so we'll jump to Gary.
All right. Let's get talk about a real game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Gary's
fighting
playing
words
with
right
them.
there.
Yeah.
Burns.
Talk about a no thanks. No. Oh, which one do you want to talk about? Which one you got pulled up there?
I don't have any pulled up. You tell me.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do Warp's Edge. Has anybody played Warp's Edge?
What is? I don't even know what he
No.
can say. He's talking about.
No,
real
but
games.
I
don't-
keep
none of us even heard of
keep
this.
hearing about it. Everyone says you have.
This is it
I've
right
heard of
here.
it, yeah.
It was tough to find for a while, and I finally got a copy. It is solo only,
Okay.
and
Oh yeah.
but it's really well done. So basically, you have a ship. Okay, it's a bag builder, by the way, is what it is, and you have some ships, and you can pick one. They have different types of hulls and shields that you can use, and you're going to go up against this big mothership, and the mothership is usually made up of a couple sections, and also these, like, you see
I
there's
like
some
this.
there's some cards that come out right underneath that mothership board. So those are like some enemies. So imagine, like, I don't know, Star Wars, Imperial destroyer, and then you have like all the little TIE fighters and stuff. So
Okay.
they'll come out, And the time limit is like you see up there on that board right there. You see those the 4 circles in their little green bar at the very top.
Yeah.
Okay, that's called your warp area. So once you can't pull any more discs out of your bag or these power tokens, you'll warp. And so basically you can go through 4 warps to try to beat this mothership. Each mothership has different things it can do to you. And you're pulling these tokens out of the bag, and you're going after these little enemies right there and trying to fight the mothership at the same time. Now, sometimes you'll see at the top of those cards, you'll see like on the left, there's like a red, and then on the right, there's blue. So sometimes the red is like actually attacking it, and you'll get the benefit that's right underneath that. Or the blue is like an evade action, and you'll still get benefits from that. So sometimes it's not always beneficial to kill the enemy ship. You might get something a little bit better because you're trying to plan your bag accordingly.
Right, so those tokens will go in your bag, and now that's that's like powering you up a little bit. Giving you advantage.
The tokens are like sometimes like shooting like a photon blast, or you might get some like special evade maneuver and stuff. But you got to do it before your shields go down, then your hulls go down. There's also cards that come out that give you like little special abilities, like a one-time use during that round. And like, let's see here. Like I got one card right here. This is called, I don't know if you can see this, the Revenant. Okay. So once you kind of defeat him, he turns into a transformer guy, and then you got to beat him after that.
Hang on, Gary.
Oh, wow, really?
It's Voltron.
Yes.
You just kicked Gary out of the
stream.
stream.
I see how you are. Yeah.
I gotta put you
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
And you see, he's got
back to the other side.
Go back to the other side.
Oh, the other side. Let's see here.
He was this.
Okay.
And
So who was that?
So you can see like the middle section takes 4 blasts, then the back and 2. You see the deck set up, so you'll have 4 easy ones that come out, 2 medium ones, 2 hard guys that'll come out. And you got 3 rounds to get to this. I beat this guy once. He's kind of tough.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
And so that came out about maybe 2 years ago. It's put out by Renegade, but they also put out a new game on GameFound earlier this year. And in that, they added an expansion of 2 more new motherships, a couple more player ships, some new tokens. You get acrylic tokens, because I don't understand, if you're going to put out a game like this, just give us real nice tokens. I hate pulling out cardboard.
Well,
so,
you gotta buy those coin cases. That's
I know.
Thing, right?
I'd rather, those are kind of nice. That's what I did in my Ready Set Bet, by the way, as I got.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I got those. But
of course you did.
Of course I did. Of course I did.
Did you know, Gary? Did you know that there is a couple of expansions? Warp's Edge, Viren Invasion, and
Anomaly, and that's the one I was just talking about.
Anomaly.
Yeah, that's the one I was just talking about. Yeah. But the game, the base game, I mean, is good. You'll get plenty of play out of it. It'll take you 30, 45 minutes to get through it. Even comes with like a little story thing if you want to go through that. I don't really care for that. I just want to play.
Yeah. No, it looks cool, man.
It is. It's very, very cool. It is worth it. And I picked that one just because I kind of want to grab the the new Anomaly edition, which comes out in a month or so. So.
Okay.
This is Scott Olms.
Yeah, it's Scott Olms. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll let's put that on our list.
Okay.
And what we're doing here is we're kind of mental noting, because we'll be at PAX Friday. So.
On behalf of the group, I guess.
we're going on behalf
we're
of all
sad
of
like none of you are going.
So we're gonna look around and pick up some stuff that you guys are all recommending that are good. That's out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would really like it, Anthony.
Yeah, I think so too.
Kind of not Warpgate.
Yeah, Warp.
It's right. Yeah, I love a good space game, and I do love a good bag builder.
Yeah.
Big fan. That's cool.
Well, yeah, if you see it there, and they got the acrylic tokens, I would pick those up.
Yep. I'll pick them up so I can.
Yeah,
so I
like
can show you. So I can show them off to you on the next stream.
Yeah, or just buy me a bag. Be a friend.
I could do that.
No, it's Christmas.
If I was your friend.
It's just the Christmas season and all. I could do that.
All right, I'll give you. That was a good one, man. A good game.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm interested. Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
All right, Brandon, I know you've got some really meaty games to talk about.
Yeah, the first one I'm going to talk about. I've talked about this before on the panel about games that I just got in from Kickstarter, but this one is in retail right now. In fact, I just saw it at our local game store this past weekend. Endless Winter, Paleo Americans. This is a 10 out of 10 game for me. I mean, this is this game has just, every time I play it, I just love it. And the more I add to it as far as expansions, I love it even more than that. But the solo mode is one that has that AI deck, just like Allie mentioned. And I think with worker placement, which this game is a worker placement game, the AI deck works really well. But what I like about it is you have this, so you pull a card from this AI deck, and I think there's 16 cards or something in it, but you only ever use 3 per round, and then you reshuffle. So you're only ever seeing 3 cards from that deck per round. And so there's technically some games where you may never see some of those cards in that deck at all, just because of the way the draw comes out. So it's always different. But you basically, there's rules, and on that card, it's going to show all 4 of the action columns on the main board, because there's only 4 action. Now, take away cave paintings. If you use cave paintings, you have a 5th action column, but leaving that aside, it shows the 4, and it shows where the AI wants to go with their worker. Well, if it's taken, then, or if there's somebody already there, there's rules about where you move it and all of that. But what's cool is once they decide, based on their preference, their priority, where they are going to go, then there's a column on the card, and you just do the actions from top to bottom. And so they are gaining things sort of automatically, but they're gaining them in the column where they've picked, where they've chosen to go. So you kind of can plan around that, because if you take a column on your turn, you know that if that column gets pulled in the solo, it will skip over that and have to move to another spot. And so it's kind of neat that way. But here's the cool thing. On their next turn, you pull another card, but instead of replacing the card that was pulled before, you actually have to layer the card on top and show the bottom of the first card you pulled. So not only are they doing the stuff in the column on the new card, they also get the column, what's in the column below it, on the card that was pulled first. So it's a layered effect in the solo mode. They just get a cascading number of actions, and then up to the 3rd card, because there's only 3 turns per round, because you only have 3 workers each player. I don't know if you knew that, but they have a 3rd card. That one, they pull it out, and they do 4 different actions, because now at that point there's the column action, the bottom row action from card 1 showing. There's the card on top of that, the 2nd card, that bottom row showing, and then the 2 new columns from the new card. So it has this kind of elevating tension, which I really did enjoy with the solo mode, because it's like, if they get certain things, it's just gonna, because it's neat how they get it. Like, I know solo modes, I've complained about solo modes in the past where they just get stuff on their own, but it has to be that way, because what else are they going to do? They can't choose on their own. The AI has to pick what they're doing. And so, but this one, it works. It's really neat how it works, because you never really know where they're going to be. You never know where they're going to end up until you pull that card and then follow. But what's really cool is that megalith board. You're like, well, how do they do the megalith board? On each card, there is a targeting system, I can call it. So it's a priority thing. So they'll move, like, for example, it'll show a left arrow. Like, the main thing is go as far left as possible, but then there'll be either an arrow up or down. So they'll pick whatever directly above it or below it. It's the same if they're pulling culture cards, which is how they score a lot of their points, as culture cards. There's 2 rows of 4. So the targeting will say you go to the far left and then the bottom one. If it's there, then they take it. If not, then they do something else. So it's very clever between the area control board, the megalith board, the culture cards, the animal cards. All of it is using that targeting system. It's so unique and so different that I've never seen really anything like that before. So I really enjoy the solo mode in Endless Winter.
So not only did you love the game itself in multiplayer, but you're saying it also has a ridiculously good solo mode.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it works. I think I think Stan did the solo, but Johnny Pack was involved, and I'm really liking Johnny Pack's designs. Yeah. I just enjoy when he's involved in a game. I've just noticed I like a lot of his games. I think I've mentioned that before on our panels, but yeah, they were both involved, I think, in the solo mode, and I can't remember who did it. I don't know if it's Drake Villarreal. I don't remember who actually did the solo mode for Endless Winter, but yeah, it's nice that I had no problem getting that big old game out and setting it all up and playing it solo, and I just as much as I do multiplayer.
Yeah. It is
and I'm not a solo
big
player.
Game.
Yeah.
It is a big game on the table. There's a lot of components. We
figured it out.
We recently picked it up, set it up, played it a couple rounds. We didn't play a full game yet. It's in our queue for filming at some point. It's just so we wanted to get a taste for it because I was curious of how it played, and I liked what I saw.
Good.
Yeah,
I especially love games that come with those trays already. Because I opened that and then was that one the Dwellings of Eldervale, and they're both games that have their own component storage solutions that are ridiculously good. Like it really sets the bar. So when games don't have that now, I'm like, really, plastic bags?
Just get,
this
a
is
bunch
my
of pieces and not enough plastic bags.
With a game that size too, the setup would be a nightmare if it was all in baggies. So the fact is, I'd rather pay more to have those plastic trays.
Agreed.
And they're not game trays, but they don't need to be in Endless Winter. They're their own custom, and they work great.
They work great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really good. It looks like that's something. Has anyone else here played Endless Winter?
I played it with Branden on Tabletop Simulator. Yes.
Yes, with Levi.
Yes.
Yeah.
I played it once.
Okay. Would you, Mike?
I haven't
Gary
played
is
it,
muted.
but there's I should be unmuted now. I
just
but I keep hearing about it. There's a guy, Dave, Board Game Dave. He's talked to me a lot about it and just really praised it up. So it's something. I actually was at the store today. If I see it, I'll probably grab it, but I didn't back it.
That was my trap. I saw it at the game store.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I have to buy. And I bought 2 expansions with it too. Fool that I am.
The expansions are rock solid too, I think, and they're
The
so.
only one I
modular.
didn't get was the roll and write one or the flip.
The cave paintings.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one's cool though, but I can see why. I can see why. That's cool.
I'm like, it's just not. For me.
Totally get it.
Yeah, the other one. Good.
That's the one that adds the 5th action column. Though. So you actually get a 5th column, so it creates more tension, and you have another deck building spot for cards. Yeah.
Okay. Gary, not even interested, huh?
Oh no, I actually have the game. I got.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, I ended up purchasing it from somebody, like one of the middle pledge, and I've played the solo a few times, and I'm not as high on it as Branden, but it is a good game. With solo, for me, I like quick turns, and this solo, it is involved, and there's a lot of, you got to do a lot of stuff with the AI side. What Branden said, there's a lot of stuff they got to get and stuff like, I like Fister, I like Tertsy. It's like flip a card, boom, done. Okay, now Arc Nova. It was one thing you did for the AI, and then it's just back to you again. And so I kind of felt myself a couple times kind of getting lost in what I kind of wanted to do in my own side of Endless Winter. But no, it's definitely a solid game. And you're right, Johnny Pack is a great designer. He's really good. I'm a big. Did he do the solo on that one?
I don't remember.
It was, I just looked it up to say it was Drake.
It was Drake.
Villarreal. Yeah.
Villarreal. Yeah.
But it's funny because this is the solo I like a little bit better than Endless Winter, Resurgence by Kordonsky. So
and he actually designed that solo mode standing.
Yeah, and that goes a little faster. But
it does.
No, they're both good. Yep, it's just going to be kind of like what your play style is with solo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Like that one. How about you? You want to share yours?
I
know you're so excited.
So excited. I am so excited.
And she did this on her own. I have no idea how this even was.
How this works?
Yeah.
That's okay.
I read a little bit, but not enough.
Well, no, it's funny because again, we don't play a lot of solo.
You can hold it up.
I will, but I'm giving a little bit of an intro here. This is my dramatic.
We need to build up.
All right, build it up.
So when we play solo games, usually it's because like the other one isn't like super interested. So we got this game and it like sat on the table, and I'm like, when are we gonna play this game? And he's like, just do it. Like I don't really care. And I'm like, okay. So
I said this is more your speed than mine.
Hunt a killer. Okay. So if you're on Facebook at all, you probably have seen Hunt a Killer in your advertisements like all the time. I know I do. And I'm always like, I don't know. That's kind of like mainstreamy. I don't know if it's like real like board gamey exactly, but and the way that Hunt a Killer works, like typically they have had like these memberships where you do like 6 months or 12 months, and they'll send you like clues every month, and you're supposed to solve this like murder mystery over the series of like 6 to 12 months or whatever. And so it's kind of like gimmicky a little bit, I guess, but people love it. But they they started coming out with these like all-in-one boxes, like premium games, and so now they're selling these like all-in-one experiences. So for us, even though I guess I don't know if you'd consider it like a board game, but it is excuse me, it is a game. It has components, and so I'm calling it a solo experience. We were contacted actually by these Hunt a Killer people to like talk about these. So I will be doing a review on the mystery of Magnolia Gardens.
A spoiler-free review.
Drew
Nancy
mystery.
Drew. Wow.
It is a Nancy Drew mystery.
So they have they've got like really like slasher murders, like you can pick from those, but they also have like this, they like a little Nancy Drew, nobody died, but somebody was poisoned by tea, and we have to figure out who done it and like how. And then they have like Agatha Christie and stuff like that. So it's kind of a neat like gift idea actually, if you know anybody who's kind of into these little like mystery, like I always like to figure it out. Like Anthony makes fun of me because I'm always trying to figure everything out about everything.
Why are you
Super
putting your
analytical.
socks on right now? Like
I'm like, I'm trying to figure
what are you
it
trying
out.
to figure out where I'm going? Like,
I know. I always ask him these weird questions like throughout the day. He's like, "Why are you asking me that?" I was like,
Why are you
I don't know.
putting sugar in your coffee?
Oh my gosh.
Trying to figure it all out.
Lexi does the same thing to
Does
me.
she
Every
do
time
that
I have
too?
something, every time I have something to eat and I walk into the living room with something,
Yeah.
she's always like, "What do you got? What are you eating?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Leave me alone. I'm not
Cheesecake.
telling you what I'm eating."
Yeah.
It's probably cheesecake.
Oh,
So,
it's so funny. We have this big joke about that now. She does the same. Very inquisitive about everything that I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
But and I know Anthony doesn't want me to show components, but he doesn't really understand how this works, and he doesn't understand that me showing you stuff isn't going to solve. I've been staring at this thing. I want to show. I'm showing him the tin.
Okay, show
sorry,
the
I'm
tin.
just giving you. An
I'm already
example.
looking. I saw the tin on. Yeah.
You saw it? Yeah,
looks
like
nice.
they show the components. So
They
like
do.
you'll actually get like profiles of people, and you have to read their backstory. You have like notes written by whoever the murder mystery person is. They send you like this tin. It's got a little lock on it. I haven't solved it yet, so it's like not opened. But it's kind of like escape roomy in a box, except they give you the physical stuff to interact with, where like unlock games and stuff are fun, but they're just basically cards.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like puzzly in a different way.
It's full of props, which is really cool.
I
I'll
thought
give it
that this was going to be gimmicky, but when we got it and actually opened it up, and I'm like, oh, like it's actually stuff that I can like spread out all over the bed or wherever I'm at and try to like
And she did.
solve this little mystery. So, you know, I think it's pretty cool.
Which is the one? Which is the one that Gary's in?
The
One
what?
that Gary's in?
That Gary's
One that
in. I know he's
Gary's
going to be in one of these.
He's definitely one of.
Is
Yeah,
it?
he's on one of those profile cards.
That's right.
It could be the Nancy Drew one. It
It
could
could
be.
be. I think it was.
I know.
the
I know
mystery of-
Francis.
Could be
So
the
this-
mystery of Hunter's Lodge.
I want to say, so this particular one is, I don't know, it's cute for me because I'm into like, it reminds me of like Longwood Gardens, which is near us. It's like this whole story about this
Killer.
He was poisoned with killer plants and stuff. And
Heads up,
I don't
Anthony.
know. I'm into
Yeah, I
that
know,
kind of thing.
right? No sipping tea. She's always
I know,
offering
now
me
I'm
tea
drinking
now,
tea
and I won't take it.
And
I make
will
her
say
sip first.
I think the price point on these, I don't think you brought this up, but the price point on these ranges anywhere from like $30 to a lot of them are like $60-$70. The Agatha Christie ones, I think probably because it's like collector edition, it comes with like leather bound stuff and
It's like a
everything.
full on leather bound watch.
$190, like comes like a real watch.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
real props.
Yeah,
Like,
so
it's like crazy.
Wow.
I'm super excited about this only because again I'm always looking for like gift board gamey kind of gamey gift ideas and stuff.
I do need a
and
new watch.
I don't know.
There you go.
There you go.
What I did when I was looking at this, what came to mind was Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, right? Where
Yeah.
you've got that solo type game where you read through the case files, you take notes, you go through all the evidence, and then you come to a conclusion, and then you open the secret envelope and you
Yes.
figure out whether or not you
And
did it.
that's basically what
That's
you're
what
doing
it is
here,
in a box.
so-
But there's so different stories, and it has actually like really cool props. So
Yeah.
But
really
this
neat.
makes me happy because it opens up. I love the big solo games and the sophisticated AIs and the good designers. That's all wonderful, and I don't mean to disrespect any of that. But there's a lot more than that, and I
Yeah.
actually like when it. So something like for you, Francis, like you
Mm-hmm.
want to sit down with like a hunter killer mystery and just kind of enjoy it. And sometimes having another person can ruin the experience if they're not as into it as you, right?
Right.
So you can have these fun, gimmicky games. It's still a game, and you still get to spread your pieces all around. Like my favorite is Detective City of Angels. I mean, that's a different level, but it's there's no solo detective experience like that. You play that game solo, and your heart's racing. Like you are in it. It's amazing.
I might have to try that.
Oh my goodness! I have
Garcia like that one.
Yeah, it is incredible. But like I even like the theme, the Nancy Drew. Like maybe you don't want the gore serial killer thing. I wish it was Hardy
Yeah.
Boys. I've got like the whole
Yeah,
Hardy
I
Boys
know.
collection.
I'm
I
surprised
do
that they don't
the
have
whole
them.
thing.
I've got every book.
Because I saw it at Target and I was like, I almost bought it because I wanted to include it in a review just to show like solo. It doesn't have to stay to sophisticated AI. That is one wonderful
Right.
place to go, but it can
Yeah.
scare people off. So I
Yeah.
love that.
It's
Yep.
cool. I agreed. Like, I think it's a cool way to like, especially for me, like I like the quality time piece of like gaming, and it's like I have things that I do on my own, but like to find an actually like a game experience or something that's not me doing something productive on my own is a challenge.
Yeah, well, like
playing
when
games
I
is the only
did,
thing I do that's not productive. and
Yeah, like
have
when
to
I
do
did
it
Pulp Detective,
with
I
him.
put some like pulp noir jazz on, and
That's cool,
you
yeah,
light some
see?
candles, and you pour yourself
Yeah.
some whiskey,
Mhm.
just straight whiskey, 'cause you're playing. And sometimes if you're just like, I just need to like relax for a little bit,
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Well, thank you, Mike, for validating my game choice today.
No, I think it's a great
That
one,
was mine.
Francis.
Very
I'd play it
cool.
with you.
All right.
I might have to pick that one up and see if my oldest daughter would play it with
Well,
me.
hey,
here's-
thinking.
look,
Yeah.
once we finish it, which should be soon,
We'll send it on to you.
give us your address.
Yeah.
We'll send it over to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. for
Yeah,
real.
we'd love to play it. I got sent 2 cold case mysteries from Think Fun, and they're similar. They don't have all of the kind of fancy props. It's literally just a small box. You open it up, it's a like manila folder and
Okay.
a bunch of papers. And that's it.
Oh, wow.
It's just a
Okay.
bunch of papers. And so I played the first one that they sent me, and I had everything like laid out on my game table, just this like swath of these papers
Yeah.
and photographs and stuff. And my husband came down, he's like, "What are you doing? Are you working? What is that?" I was like, "No, it's a game. I'm trying to solve a murder mystery."
That would be me.
Yeah,
Yes.
she likes to pretend she's on that show Manifest. I don't know if you've seen that yet on Netflix. But,
Oh
I haven't
gosh.
seen it yet.
Oh my gosh, this show is
yeah,
so
we
good.
won't go into it, but this one dude has a
It's so
wall of like
good.
all these people's
That's me.
pictures
I'm
and
that
like
guy.
Yeah.
arrows
Strings.
pointing each one and strings. Yeah, the whole thing.
So good.
Like, and he goes to, like, he's got like a file folder on everybody. It's
Oh my gosh,
ridiculous.
this show is
Nice.
Yeah, if
Like
you ever
X
catch
Files.
it- yeah, if you ever
I
watch
was
that
worried I
show-
wouldn't like them, honestly, when they sent
Yeah.
that, because I'm not a fan of Chronicles of Crime when I played
Oh,
that
yeah.
one.
I wasn't
right,
either.
right.
And I played it solo, and I don't know if that was part of it, but I felt like it was just very much on rails, and I would go
It
and ask
is.
somebody
It doesn't get-
something.
Yeah.
Doesn't get
And
any
then-
better multiplayer.
They would ask, they'd answer the same thing. I was like, I already know that.
Yep.
Right.
I want you to tell me something different. And so I'd get to the end, I'd run out of time. I wouldn't know who had done it. I wouldn't have come up with the answer. And I was like, I just spent an hour and a half playing this, and I just feel stupid. So
Yeah.
This was like, and I feel that way too about a lot of these like detective-y or like story-based, figure it out what's going on kind of
Yeah.
games. Detective, like the Ignacy version
modern-
of detective,
modern
the
board game
modern
one. Yeah.
detective, the one that you're
Get rid of
like,
that.
you go on the game, whatever.
Didn't like it.
See, I liked that one,
Oh,
but I don't have time to play it. That's the problem. Is that it takes
Yeah.
like hours and hours and hours.
Long.
And
Long.
but
Yeah.
that was
Homework
one that
the game.
I did enjoy. Like
Yeah.
going through all the
Serious?
stuff. But
Yeah.
Which one are you
know.
talking about? You said the Ignacy detective.
The
Detective,
Nazi-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Detective,
yeah.
a modern
Jared, did you
modern
play that one
crime
with
board
us?
game.
I didn't play
I
it
feel
with
that
you
was-
guys. I played it with
We
some
were
friends
there.
here, and we had
Right.
we even I had this huge like whiteboard, and we were using
Yes.
a whiteboard. I mean, after 4
Oh, wow.
hours, we're like, we're stuck.
Yeah, like
We're
wow,
out.
we played it.
Yeah.
We played it with Ignacy, so I think
Oh,
We did, yeah. We
He
played
kinda-
with
he
yeah.
I played a
guided
game
us.
with him.
We
That's
did.
tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
He's like
interesting.
watching you. He's like, no, that's not
Yeah,
this.
that's not the- yeah, like, okay.
No.
Okay.
So that was interesting. All right, so that was cool.
Cool. All right, so that's it. That's me.
Excellent.
particular.
So back to Allie again. What's your second game?
Okay. So I'm going to go with a much smaller. I just talked about Everdell, specifically my complete collection, which is the biggest box in my house.
Yeah.
And now we're going to switch over to one of the smallest boxes. And this is a little 9-card solitaire game called Grove.
Grove.
And
Oh.
yep, and this one came out, I think it just came out this year. The Kickstarter just fulfilled. I actually had a chance to play an early prototype copy before backing it. And it's from the same designer who did Orchard, which is also a 9-card solitaire game. And it's kind of the same game. It's just a little bit of a twist on Orchard. But essentially you have a deck of 9 cards. And then you have, I think it's like 15 dice in 3 different colors.
Is this
And yep, that's it there.
Okay.
And so you're going to play with 9 of the cards, and you can play Grove in 2 different modes. You can play just 9 cards, and you try to place them out and beat your own score. Just try to score as high as you can. Or on the back of all of the cards are these recipes. And so it's either lemon, lime, or orange recipes. So you have like limoncello and
Look, who's a
like
quarter.
The Mangelo
yeah, there is. Yeah.
and a
Limoncello. And so you have all these dice, and essentially what you do is you're going to play a card out, and then you're trying to overlap the same type of fruit trees. And every time that you overlap them, you increase the pip value on the dice. So the pip value on the dice is tracking how much of that fruit you have. And at the end, you're going to count up the total value of all of your dice pips. And that's how you score. But if you're using the recipe cards, it actually gives you bonuses for playing specific things, like having all of the green dice out by the end of the game. And then it also gives you a target score at the top. So you sum up the numbers on the top of the 2 cards, and that's your target score to win. But it's super simple. It plays in like 5 minutes a round. It's just overlap these cards, see how well you can get them to line up. You can't overlap if the trees are different colors, except for once, and you can play that squirrel token, but he's going to take away points on all of the trees around you or around the squirrel, which is not good. Like, you really don't want to play that squirrel token. And then if you can get one of yours up above 10, which is like this little basket icon, then you'll get 15 points if you can overlap them. But it's super fast. It's really portable. I mean, the box is like this big. It's a little like matchbox. You can see it there.
Does it
And
all
I
fit
just-
snugly in this telescopic box as they play?
Yep. Yeah, it all fits right in there. And I just throw it in my purse. I'll take it to
cool.
like the girls have piano lessons, and my oldest Rory has played these before and she likes playing them. So I got this one and Orchard with it as well. So really either one is excellent. I prefer Grove because I like the target score with the recipes.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
neat.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
kind of
that's
uses
cute.
that overlaying mechanic from Smartphone Inc. I mean, it's doing it differently in this game.
Yeah, I haven't played that, but
Or in Kodama is another one.
Yeah,
that uses
Kodama's
that.
another
Yeah,
one.
Kodama
Yeah,
does
that's a
it,
cool
yeah.
mechanic.
It's
I haven't
neat.
heard of this game.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, Fall of the Mountain King just shipped. We haven't played it yet, but it does the same thing with its resource generation. There's square cards, and you're overlapping them and creating pathways and stuff. So it's a
Okay.
neat mechanism. Yeah.
Have you played Smartphone?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have it. I own it. I love
Is it
that.
good?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's good. Yeah.
Is it?
There's mobile markets. You
yeah.
could get that one, but the original smartphone, and for 2 players, get the 1.1 update because it comes with a whole new board and it's better for 2. But yeah, you actually get 2 boards, and every turn you basically have little rules that you have to follow on like how you do it.
Okay.
But once you overlap it, the icons that are showing are the things you can do, which
Yeah,
is
it's good.
Huh.
it's so neat.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's fun.
so neat. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, we've always looked at it. Never.
Yeah, like even
pull
when
the
it was
trigger on it.
like, I think it was like at PAX one year as a Euro like release, SN release or something, and I was like, I don't know.
It looked kind of like the art on it looked kind of bland. Like it was just kind of very
Very
plain.
It is. It's very white. It's very bright.
Yeah.
It looks like an app. You know,
Yeah,
very
right,
sleek,
right.
very slim,
Yeah.
very streamlined, but very bland. Yeah. But
Yeah.
It's
the
very
good thing about not having a busy like art style is
Yeah.
the graphic design is unbelievably clear. I mean, it's
Oh, cool.
very clear.
Yeah.
Every icon is very So I think it's
Right.
it's a classy game.
And the
I like
game
it.
It
board,
looked like.
and the game board is dual layered.
Dual layered,
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the game
Nice.
board is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
including
Yeah.
the one from the smartphone, the 1.1 update. That's why it
Yeah.
comes in its own box.
It looked very clear, like Fog of Love. If you ever played that, it has very similar.
Or Time Stories. Time Stories is like that too.
Time Stories too. Yeah, like
I
I
those
just
were all.
picked up a
almost
solo
similar.
Time Stories Revolution.
did you?
I actually just picked
The
it
new
up
one.
today.
Yeah,
Huh.
the new one.
I wanna
Oh,
see how
that's
that
one to
goes.
talk about. See,
Oh,
that's
cool.
one I would do on my own. if
Yeah,
didn't
you
want
have to
my-
have the base game, and then there's
We have the base.
it's in
We
the
have
other.
base.
So if you have the base game, it's $35 for any of the ones that say Time Stories Revolution. Those are
Okay.
solo, and then you can
What are the
get Time
playtimes on
Stories
those? Do you know?
Revolution Experience, which turns it into like a level building, some kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I won't understand till I open the box.
So the Revolution, do they is that like what is the playtime on? Are they like scenario based or is it like Time Stories is kind of like you have to go back several times? It's more I don't say legacy, but
The time, if I remember, it's a shame. It's just in the other room. I believe
Yeah, that's
on the
okay.
back it said like 40 minutes or something. I could
Okay.
be wrong, but it's a Midsummer's Dream. So somehow loosely linked to the Shakespearean play there.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
but I
we
literally
played-
like just picked it up, so I haven't even opened it out of the
Okay.
wrap
Yeah,
yet.
sorry, we didn't mean to
Yeah,
like
we-
put you
we
on the
played the
spot about it, but I'm
base
curious.
game. I don't know if we beat.
We didn't. We got
this-
like halfway
yeah,
through
halfway
it.
through it. It was just
I have-
the rules are a little weird when it goes to the whole
Well, going
back and forth, and then resetting, and then knowing when to advance your time and when not
Well,
to.
and especially when
it's-
like
it
we
was real
cannot
loose.
get through legacy games because
Yeah.
we just have too much to do.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
not-
end up-
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know.
It's
I
not
don't
a
wanna
true
say
legacy,
but
yeah.
it's also not something you can sit down and you play for an hour and then you get transported back to the time and now you've got to jump back in.
Yeah, do it
And
again.
you got to
Yeah.
take notes and like
You
in
gotta
order
remember
to
where you left
really
off,
remember
yeah.
where you left off, it's hard
We
to
have-
jump back into that.
We have one
you know,
expansion we haven't
weeks
even
later.
opened yet. The Marcy Files, I think it's
Marcy
called.
Files, yeah.
Which
Marcy Case.
Marcy Case, yeah, which I think is in 1980s something
Yeah.
murder mystery. But it seems really cool. It's just the rules were a little fiddly for us.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not sure because Revolution is its own thing. So like this is experience, but
Right.
you need to have. You can't play experience alone. You have to have a case. So this like enhances a case. So that might not be for you if it
Oh.
was
See?
fiddly.
But that
So
would
you would
help.
want to get the Midsummer Dream one, which is just one. It's just one case.
One case.
And
Okay.
Revolution is a whole. I
Is it
got
like a
the
system?
impression it's more of a standalone thing.
I'm gonna
I'll have to look into
this.
it because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that might rekindle interest
love
in
the
that
Time
game
Stories.
that's
I'm
been sitting on our
very
shelves,
interested.
and I don't want it to get caught up in our
Yeah.
purge, our next purge. So
Yeah, and it's $35 for a full game. That's I
It's
guess
not
you have to
bad.
have a base game, so it is a lot.
Yep. So that was the game you wanted to talk about, Mike. Wow, that was, that was really fast.
We're done.
Well, while we're on you, man, what game are you're up?
All
wanna
right,
talk-
so
What do you really want to talk about? before
what I
hijack?
really want to talk about. So this game, I'm gonna follow Francis's style here. So this game, I was at a used game store, Second and Charles, and sitting on the floor, there's a big box called Massive Darkness, and on top of that was some other Arcana something, I don't know. And then there was something called Etherfields. And none of these
Ah.
games appeal to me in the slightest on the covers at all. I got Massive Darkness, and I understand why people like it. Not for me. Etherfields. This game has been sitting on my table for 5 weeks. This is the only game that I've ever owned where, you know, when people ask you, like, if your house is on fire, what one game are you going to grab? Well, I won't be able to decide, so I'm going to die with them. But not this one. This is the one game. This catches. We talked about detectives, so Etherfields. It's a divisive game, and if you hate it with a passion. And if you love it, you're like me, and you're like.
I think I know one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and I understand why. I can totally understand why. So I'll talk about a few of the flaws, but they did fix it in a version 2.0.
Yeah.
But some of it anyway. But Etherfields, one, it's a game that looks like you're in a dream world, right? So you wake up, you're someone who's asleep, and you wake up in a dream world. Here's the cool twist, and I hope it's not too much of a spoiler. It's going to be the lightest spoiler in the world, so mute it if you don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
This is a sci-fi game, and it does link to ISS Vanguard, and I haven't figured it out yet, but I can't wait to see that link. So I have to play ISS Vanguard to finish Etherfields. So that I'm just like, that's brilliant. I love it. But anyway, that makes me happy. But so you play as dreamers. The thing is, so you go around on, there's a dream world, which is where a lot of the issues came in. You have characters, and you go around on these dream worlds, and I'll just flash it so it's not too much of a spoiler. There you go. There are dream worlds like that. You go around on little maps, and this is like an overworld. Once you go to certain places, like let me just hold one of them up. Once you go to places like here, you can move to a dream gate. So you go from the overworld and you zoom in, and I'll use the opening setup tile so it's not a ruin in anything. There we go. And you go into like a smaller dream, and you add like a tile to this and a tile to this. So you zoom in and you go into a dream world, and you have to complete some mission, and you're just trying to find out who on earth you are. Why are you trapped in a dream? And as you go through this dream world, there are nightmare entities, which I usually don't like. I'm not into horror themed stuff. Not that it's not well done. It's too creepy for me. They don't go too far with it though. They're just these like scary creatures, and they're not always bad. So you have options on how you interact with them. You can fight. So you'll have an option of assault. And this is both a good and downside. So you have assault, where you can just fight them and beat them, and something will happen. You have a book full of secrets that if you beat them, the game board tells you read paragraph 507 or something like that. And it will have some kind of result for you. Or you can do contact, which is more like you interact with them. Maybe you even try to have a conversation. Maybe you even try to understand them. And that may go better for you, or it might go worse. And that could really frustrate people because you don't know. So if like the dreamer is this big, gigantic, scary, spidery thingy, you might want to fight it. If it's a creepy child that's running away crying, you might want to try to interact. And then they might stab you in the back. You don't know. You have no idea what might happen. Or they might unlock a memory, and you get to find out a little something of the story. So for me, it's like it takes an escape room. It takes Detective City of Angels. It takes the exploration of Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle-earth, that very overworld, to then like zoom into an inner world for a little bit. And I'm maybe 15 dreams in, and each dream can be an hour, 2 hours. And I don't even care where it goes. Like I just love it. But the downsides, because there are many. So one of the downsides is if you like any kind of combat in these kind of games, like Massive Darkness or something, the combat is basically you come to a creature and you either choose to lay down. It's a deck builder, so you have cards. You lay down 2 or 3 cards that let you combat it, but it's exactly the same if you choose to like converse or interact. Like there's no difference. You just get 6 points of something and decide which one you're going to use. I don't mind that, but if you wanted like a complex battle system, it's not there. The other issue was the way you go on the Dream World map. That's the overworld map. It was a major problem in version 1.0 because it was like an old style RPG. Like I know, Anthony, you played Final Fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know how the old ones, you used to walk and you couldn't see the enemies. You would just be
Correct.
like, you might make it 5 feet and then you have a random encounter, or you might make it 20. And it got tedious. Well, the version 1.0 had that. They were called slumbers. And you would spend so much time on the overworld in these random tiny little encounters called a slumber, where you just have to beat some creature, that by the time you got to the dream escape map, where you actually go into a specific dream and unlock characters and stories and abilities and all this, by the time you got there, like, you were just worn out. There were way too many slumbers. And the other issue they had to do with starting the game. So, like, if you're playing this solo, and it plays same solo and multiplayer, it's a cooperative game. The only difference is difficulty scales. So, there's nothing, there's no AI deck or anything to manage like that. But the entry, it's like in the instructions in version 1.0, they said, this game, they keep saying, you know, this game isn't very complicated, just start your first dream and you'll figure it out as you go. Well, that didn't happen. It's like they thought they made, if you ever played Jaws of the Lion, the tutorial.
Yeah.
And that was wonderfully done. You could just flip through the tutorial, learn the game. It's like they thought they did that and they didn't. So you were totally lost in getting used to this game. So they did release a version 2.0, and they made new Dreamscape tiles so you don't have the tedious encounters like that, and also the instruction book and an entry app that's supposed to guide you through the game. So I can't speak to that because you can't truly start over twice.
Restart it, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, if you like exploration, investigation, this is not a combat game. This is investigation, exploration, and kind of aimless and wandering, and the story is just little tiny pieces here and there, and I can't really say anything more on it without spoiling it, because you unlock so many cool little things if you go deep enough. But yeah, this.
So if you were to buy Etherfields now, how do you know whether you have the 1.0 or the 2.0 system? And if you don't have the 2.0, how do you actually get the 2.0 system?
Yeah, so the 2.0 is it comes with the expansion. So it's called Etherfields something campaign. What is that called? Oh, She-Wolf. So you have to get the She-Wolf expansion, so what I'm hoping is, assuming this, you never know with Awakened Realms, I'm assuming this will hit retail. There's still no solid confirmation on it. If they did, I'm assuming that they would make it the version 2.0, because they tell you in there's a big note when you buy the She-Wolf expansion. It says, get rid of your old instruction booklet, replace it with this. Now that's a flaw. Like they never should have put out 1.0 and need to replace it. But I'm happy at least they fixed it. So hopefully, I don't know if there's a way you can get it with just, like, if they do another printing of the base game. I'm not too sure. But they put all the correction map tiles. They even tell you in there, they're like, we highly recommend you get rid of the old map and use these. And then they give a link to download for the introductory tutorial.
Is it, you said She-Wolf, is it? Oh, there it is. So it's those are stretch goals.
Yep.
The Harpy and She-Wolf campaigns. Yeah, so if those don't come to retail, then there's...
I don't think they could possibly do it. Like,
no.
The way they word when I opened that box, they're like, I mean, they tell you to throw away the old book. So it's kind of like that Kickstarter first wave. Seems like they got so much feedback that was amazing, and then so much feedback that was like, your intro to this it's not a hard game, but your intro makes it hard. And then people didn't like I didn't mind the slumbers. I actually enjoyed them. But not everyone liked it. So
yeah.
So that's kind of up in the air. But I'm hoping it hits retail.
So you can get all the PDFs from their website for 2.0.
All the 2.0 PDFs.
You can.
Yeah.
So let me go there and just show everybody at home. So if you do have it and you want to grab it, you just have to go to their website and click on downloads, and I'll show you what it looks like. Bang. Here's the rulebook 2.0.
Yeah.
There's the 2.0 world map cards, front and back. So you can print all the stuff you need
if you wanted to go that route.
Yeah,
I
if you want to
guess.
go that route. So at least that's an option.
Yeah.
But it's something. I mean, unless you can get your hands on that expansion.
I mean, I will say I really enjoyed Etherfields. We didn't play through the whole game, obviously. We only played enough to like do a review on it when it was in prototype. But
it was fun.
But we enjoyed our experience with it. Again, it's like it's the legacy thing that makes it tough for us.
Yeah, that type of game is cool. That like Seventh Continent was one of those where you're just exploring with, as you're expanding the map and exploring and doing all sorts.
I think this had a little more mystery.
Yeah, this one was definitely creepy.
Like,
it was like playing in a horror dreamscape movie.
Yeah.
That's cool. Mike, I think we lost your audio, man, because you're talking and I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Mike? Can't hear you at all.
Yeah, we lost you.
His lapel-minded these.
And in 3,
There you go.
2.
There you go.
I was just screaming nonsense.
Yeah, but it only went out at the very end, which is cool because we got to hear everything about Etherfield. So definitely.
But with caution, like you said, it's that whether it's a legacy game, it's along that line, and you only need one game like this for a long time. So you would want to make sure that theme appeals to you.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So all right, let's shift over to Mr. Gary.
All right. Hey, before you were talking about trays and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Hey, make me big again. Let me show you something. All right. So in Warp's Edge, it comes with trays for all your tokens. And these come out. There's 2 of them there. And it's got a little sleeve that you can keep on top of them.
Oh, that's cool.
I wanted to show you
like
that.
that.
I thought that's pretty
Nice.
cool. It's not just
that.
bunch of bags and tokens.
What's the quality of the bag, Gary? Are we talking?
Is it canvas
premium
or
velvet? Leather?
I mean, you could get a Ziploc bag and be about the same quality, to be honest.
Right.
But I saw in their little Kickstarter thing, you get a nice nylon bag. I just grabbed something else and do it. So
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so my next game, you don't have to make me big anymore for this one.
No, I think it's good. It's worth
all right,
it.
Great. All right. Super skill pinball. This is pretty. It's a pretty heavy game. It's like it's up there with the Etherfields in this winter. There'd be a lot of
Sounds really heavy, Gary. I don't know, man.
It's really heavy. But have you guys played that? Any of the
What is it called?
Super skill pinball.
I saw reviews on it when it came out. I saw reviews on it.
Our friend Pete had us pick up, or is that a different
It
I can see mine right over there.
It looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably
it's a pinballing, right? And but basically you're just throwing your dice, and it actually does really play like pinball. You're just rolling 2 dice, and you're gonna pick one of the numbers, and as you know, as long as you're able to hit something at the top of the pinball, then you can keep marking it off. You're looking for bonuses and certain things, and then if you roll a number that doesn't, and you can't use in that area, you go down to the next area, and you'll be hitting numbers in there, and you'll go down. You can hit the bumpers and hit the pinball back up, and you see these they got like a little half disc. Basically, it's like a half of a pinball, and you use that to kind of help slide down to show where you're at. And then you got like, when you're actually playing a pinball, you also got the main screen up top that shows all your points. That's that top board. So as you're hitting certain markers, you're marking off little things on top of that too, to build up your score. And
this is essentially a roll and write.
It is it's a roll and write. Yes, it's a roll and write. You could even nudge. It's a pinball and write. You can even nudge the pinball machine, quote unquote.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like knock it, like tilt it.
Or you try to do it without tilting, and there's a way you do that. So that's a lot of fun. So that's the first one. Then they brought out a second one. I forget what it's called, but the new one it's just about to come out is a holiday edition, which you need to pull that one up too.
Well, that sounds just amazing. Hold on.
The holiday edition is it's 3 new themed pinball machines, and the themes are Elf, Christmas Story, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So they got the licensing for that?
I guess.
Yeah, I
you
know.
know, it's like the Jelly of the Month Club. It's just a gift that keeps on giving, Clark.
All year long.
All year round. I mean, so and it's got little themes, like even on the National Lampoon one, instead of marking off stars as you're hitting certain things on your pinball, you're crossing off like it looks like 1,000 Christmas bulb lights on your main screen. In the Christmas Story one, I think you got to do something with the lamp, you know, Fragile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fragile.
It's a prestigious.
What's
It's a prestigious
Fragile?
award.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go. Hold on. I think.
Yeah, you got to
we
get this thing pulled
Yeah, we
up.
got it.
I'll
We
get
got
this
it.
on screen. On screen.
got
This.
Yeah. There
That's
you
right.
go.
Right? Is that
Yep.
it?
That's it. Yeah. Is there any other pictures of that? I know.
Yeah, let's see what else they got. Okay.
Oh yeah,
here's
there
a
you
bunch
go.
down here.
Yeah, there's. Oh yeah.
So you can see it?
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you go.
there you go.
There we go. Okay. This is pretty funny.
Squirrel. I love it. You know.
So how do you? So it's pinball, which is like pretty random. So
Okay.
how do you determine? Like you roll your dice, and then what? You shoot it up
Okay.
one side or the other, and then
So see on that picture right there, right above Alpha, you see start, right? So you you
Yes.
shoot your pinball up there, and you see the little pinball there to the right.
Oh, so the
Yeah.
pinball's here. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll roll a dice. Say you roll a 5 and a 3. Well, you just pick one of those, and you could hit the 5 because that's in that bumper area. And you roll again. As long as you keep rolling a number that's available, you can just keep bumping in between there, right? And you're trying. And as soon
okay.
as you block out all of those, you'll spell I. You might get a special bonus for that.
Oh, so when you so if you roll a 5 and a 2, you pick the 5, you cross out this 5, you color it
Right.
in?
You cross out that 5.
Okay.
And you got to bump between the two, or you kind of move around. Once you get to a
Right.
number that doesn't, you can't cross that, and then you'll go down to the next level, and you'll keep doing
Oh,
those.
right. So it's like it's kind of like you're shooting your pinball up
Mm-hmm.
to the highest level first, and then it's
Yeah.
like going boom, 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 coming
Yes.
back down. I see how they did that. Okay.
And you can
Okay.
obviously play
That's
with
pretty
multiple.
cool.
Yeah, you can play with multiple people. I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody's really rolling good, you're gonna be sitting there. But it's kind of just fun just to play by yourself, and like
It looks, I'd get this
That's
Christmas
cool.
one. That looks
Yeah.
pretty fun.
It's very, it's a lot of fun. It plays fast. It's easy to do. Everybody gets into,
Yeah.
especially with these themes. So I'm gonna probably pick up this one, just because it's an easy theme to get into, and you can just
Yeah.
quote the movies, the whole time.
Yeah, we're
So-
Yeah, exactly.
definitely,
That is
definitely
so
look out
cool.
for this one at PAX. Put that on our list.
I'm putting it on the list right now.
Look at that.
And if
Two
you,
of Gary's
if you're,
games.
that's right. If you're looking for a gift for a good friend, Anthony,
This guy.
that's what friends do. They get gifts. for
That's
each
what they
other.
do.
That's
Yeah,
what they do.
That's what I hear. It's- surprising,
holiday.
Gary. You pulled out two
Hey.
two interesting games I hadn't heard of,
All right. See.
and I piqued my interest.
I'll take you places. Just stick with me, Anthony.
Yeah,
Before Francis kills you.
I know.
With tea.
Yes, for sure.
Arsenic laced tea.
Exactly. All right.
Yes, that's
cool,
my second
man.
game. Yeah.
Excellent. That leaves us to Branden.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about Mosaic, but I'm not. I
Why?
actually have a solo playthrough video dropping tomorrow for Mosaic, so I
Nice.
think I'll leave that.
Ah,
I've talked
okay.
about it before. I do like it more than I did when I first played
Really?
it. Yes, the
The
solo
solo
mode
or
is-
just the game in general?
the game in general plus the solo, like the solo mode. I've played it both. I've played a multiplayer and solo. I like it both ways. It's like Endless Winter for me. I like both modes.
Yeah.
But at first, when I played Mosaic, I didn't like the solo mode. But now I'm really starting to like it because I had to play it. I literally had to play it 3 times before I got it fully correct for my filming. So I played it for hours solo
Yeah.
before I, filmed everything that I needed that was correctly done, because I did make one mistake, and it was a little mistake, but people are going to notice it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to go from the pinball machine to the weather machine.
Oh,
Yeah, weather machine. I just played today solo, and so I've only got one play. So basically, just first impressions. Gary mentioned something about Endless Winter, how you focus so much sometimes on the solo mode that you kind of forget what you're doing. I get that, except with Weather Machine, that is augmented by 10. This is so far above and beyond So far, we would get to film Gary's reaction to that. Gary really large and see how he tries to
Make me
punch the
big.
stream. Yeah, make me big, and then knock out the stream again. But no, but like I get that with Endless Winter. Like there are times where you're going through and you got to do everything, you got to target and all that. Weather Machine is far above and beyond that. This has its own little booklet. It's David Turchi, which I know some people love his stuff. I tend to like his stuff. I haven't played every solo mode he's ever designed because that's what he kind of does. That's his day job. When we interviewed him, he actually said that. He was like, that's how I pay the bills, the solo modes. And then when he designs games, that's like kind of like the icing on top. But like his bread and butter is making and a lot of companies hire him to do solo modes. Doesn't mean he's perfect at it. But with Weather Machine, I think he did a good job. It's very complicated though. This game, I was forgetting things because of how lengthy. Like for example, there's a 7 or 8 step process on the solo mode's turn. You have to move the character, and it's based on the card you flip. So everything's on the card. I agree with that. But there's also a discard pile of these cards, and what are they called again? I can't remember the name of the cards now. It's like the project that they're doing. Well, there's a discard pile, and so sometimes you have to refer to what they call the previous card. And so the one on top of the discard pile, so you're not just referring to one card, you're referring to multiple cards sometimes, and that can get a little confusing. This might sound like I'm complaining, but I'm really not. What I'm saying is it's exactly what you would expect from a Lacerda-Turchi kind of tag team. You're taking the complexity of a Lacerda in addition to the complexity of a Turchi, and then adding in that solo. And then once you do that, then there's where their figure ends up, and they have 2 saboteurs. So you're playing against what's called the saboteur. Basically what they're doing, they're trying to mess up your plans, trying to fix the weather machines. And I don't know if everyone knows the theme in that, where it's like there's a weather machine, it's running amok, and it's causing all these problems with the weather like around the globe, and you're trying to fix it in Latif's lab. You're basically working for him, which is why he's more of a helper in this one than Sandra is in Kanban EV. She's just sort of trying to get in your way and bust you, where Latif is actually trying to help you in a sense.
He's just nuts.
There's 2 saboteurs, and so each card is going to move either one of them to different spots, and then certain things happen. But then on top of it, you have to do what's called their nefarious plans. So there's 5 areas on the board. 3 of them are what's called your major actions or main actions, and then 1 is supply, and 5 is the end of the round phase. If he's there, then you get to trigger income and stuff. The main ones are on the main part of the board, and each of those areas have their own set of rules for the solo, and so there's just layer upon layer of rules. If they get 3 different color research tokens. So there's blue, green, and pink research. It does government, lab, and R&D, I think, are the 3 colors, blue, green, and pink. And if you get all 3 of the tokens of a specific weather type, then something else triggers on top of it. And if they have an experiment, put bots out, it's basically you're playing another player's turn. That's what when Lexi was working here when I was playing it, and I was just silent for 2.5 hours, just learning and playing, learning and playing, learning and playing. She was like, and I said, I'm tired. Like I went upstairs and took a nap. Like I was fatigued. And she says, what was it like? And I was like, it was like I was playing somebody else. Like I had to play my turn, and then I had to play somebody else's turn, and then try to remember. I would forget turn order. By the time I'd get to the end of the solo, I'd forget. Oh, wait. Okay, wait, is it my turn? Like it was one of those. So it's a lot. Wow. It's a lot. So if you're not, this is sort of like Grove, just very simple, very easy. This is like the opposite of Grove, or even the pinball, things like that.
No, pinball's way harder.
It is. Yeah. This is definitely, though, what I kind of like. I know that's why I said it sounds like I'm complaining about it, but it's really not. It's just more of the learning curve. And I was mentioning it off air that I was watching Totally Tabled and his review of it, and he did an 1.5 hour long playthrough. I wonder how many times it took him to film that, because when he reviewed it, he said he played it 4 times, and the 4th time is when he figured he had it with all the rules and the fiddliness. I've only played it once.
Wow.
So if you're looking for something really meaty, to me, this is as meaty as it gets. I haven't played a solo mode like this at all. Now, On Mars might be similar. I haven't played On Mars solo. I haven't played Lisboa, Rococo.
No, because those are different. So like Lisboa was Julian Pombo, and I tend to prefer to go that way. Kanban EV and Escape Plan have the same, where you have your AI opponent. It sounds similar. Is actually two. You have two AI decks in those two games, which are similar but still different. And then you have the Sandra character, or in this case, the crazy guy.
Yeah, Latif, the crazy guy.
I'm curious, for those of you who are playing solo, and this is a question for you, Anthony, as well, because you used to play solo. Do you find that complexity in managing the solo AI, is that an attractive challenge as a solo gamer, or is that part of the strategy when it comes to heaviness of the games and things like that?
Without a doubt. In my opinion, without a doubt.
I like a smarter AI to a degree, but like Branden said, if it gets to a point where you start to have to actively manage the AI and make decisions for the AI, that's where I start to lose it. Like Undaunted, for example, you have to, which is a Turchi solo mode, right? You go down the list. It's really intuitive. Oh, okay, if you guys are here, do this. If they're not, do this, but then do this. And then it's like, okay, if none of these matter, go to the nearest thing or what you think is the best or the highest order or where the preferred location would be. I'm like, I don't want to make that decision.
Yeah.
Like, I need this thing to tell me where to put them.
Yes, that's not what this one. I get what totally. Yeah, I agree with that. This one's not like that though. This one isn't. Well, if you don't, this one is so fine tuned that it's honestly there in one step in one of the things. If there's a tie, there are 4 different categories of if it's tied here, then do this one. And then if that one's tied, do this. And if that's tied, then they just get a chemical, that kind of thing. And
see, I can deal with that. As long as
it's like a flow chart, basically.
Yeah, as long as it comes to an end and it tells you what to do, as opposed to, I don't like the ones that are kind of open-ended, like, well, you decide where you want. You make the choice here. And I'm like, well, I'm going to choose.
I decide I win the game.
That's pretty much a no-go across the board for solo players. You want the AI opponent intelligent, and if you want this heavier experience where you do manage them, you want it to be on an if-then type of scenario. If it's this, then you do that. If you have to decide, which is why the On Mars solo was broken, is you did have to decide. So they had to release the expansion that fixed it.
Yeah.
But so no, you don't. At least I don't want that. The only thing, so like this sounds like something I would really like, Branden. The only thing is, I've found I can only really fairly own 2 or 3 of these at a time, and that's like pushing my max. So it has to dethrone something that I have, or it will never hit the table, because like I have to give 2 to 4 weeks if I'm really actually going to get like the gems out of the game.
Yeah, well, you'd have to keep relearning it.
You have to keep relearning. Yeah, like I want to get this. That's hard to do with Mosaic.
I don't have. Yeah, like I can pull out On Mars and give me 20 minutes, I'm back in, because I spent so much time learning it. So if it was Weather Machine, I would go so heavy into it that a year later, give me 20 minutes, I've got it, because I went so hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Allie,
this one,
what do you?
Go ahead. Sorry,
I was gonna have Allie jump in about how she feels about solo. The question that I was asking.
Yeah, I tend to like the AI that simulates another player, but I don't want to have to make a decision, and I don't want a huge long list of if-thens. Like I'll go through maybe 2 or 3 things, and then if it doesn't have a decision after the 3rd thing, just do a default action. But I don't want to go through like a huge spreadsheet. And I know some games you have to like flip through the rule book and it goes through a huge spreadsheet of decisions. So as long as it's all contained basically on the card, that's fine. I like if I have those sort of heavier complexity solo AI games, then those are the ones that I want to play back to back, or those are the ones that I like to put on my solo challenges where I know I'm going to play it at least 5 times in a pretty short period of time, because like Mike said, then I feel like I actually know the game pretty well, and if I go away from it for a little while, I can come back and pick it up pretty easily without having to completely redo all of that learning.
Yeah. Yep. Keep in mind too that the complexity of this solo mode is completely related to the complexity of the base game. If this was a solo mode this complex with a game that was medium weight, I wouldn't like it as much. I don't think that is a good solo mode. I don't think it. Yeah. I think this solo mode is complicated because the base game is complicated. Because on my turn, I have to go through a whole list of things to do as well.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so I think that's why. And so, yeah, I do agree with that, though. And that's the other thing. Like, I didn't have to make a decision for this AI. It was just following all of those different flow charts. In fact, some of the most crazy turns that the solo mode took was when they couldn't do anything because they already had stuff and it was tied. And then it was basically then if none of that works, then they get a chemical, and then there's a way that they have to choose a chemical because it's a supply on the main board from top to bottom. And then it says, look at the previous card, and there's a gear, and it'll either show the top gear, which means the top is the priority, or it'll show the bottom one, the bottommost priority. So that's how you pick the chemicals. So sometimes it's like, just pick a chemical, but then you have to look and say, okay, well, which chemical? Is it the top one? Is it the bottom one? So I never had to, because if I had to choose the chemical on my own, I would have picked the one that was more advantageous for me for it not to have.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. It took the decision making out of the solo mode, even though it was fiddly and complicated, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
That's a better AI, in my opinion.
Which is one in time you'll get the hang of it, and it'll just become intuitive. You won't even have to reference the rules.
Just like Mike said, and I think it's true. What I need to do is it's like when you get kicked off of a horse, they say, or if you fall off your motorcycle, best thing to do is get back on it as soon as you can. Or else you never will, because it'll scare you. Yeah. This is a game that it's intimidating, but I need to get it to the table really soon and get at it again, just to kind of
and be okay with falling asleep. When I learn these games, and I'm assuming because Weather Machine is really high on the list of what I want, I will fall asleep many times while learning, and that's what's lovely about solo. That's what's lovely about it. Is
Meeple imprint.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike.
I mean, I'll read the rules and then not be able to play it. And so I'll have read the whole solo rules and then have to come back to it when I actually have time to pull it out. Like, I think I read the Mistwood rules 2 weeks ago while I was waiting on one of my kids at dance class, and I was just sitting in the car reading solo rules. But,
And one last thing with that, I think, to give credit to the artists, it's not just the designer of the solo mode that makes that. You were with the question that you asked, Francis, about what do you look for the solo opponent. It's not just managing it. If you can read the card for the AI opponent, then once you master that, like a good solo mode means that the iconography is done so well for this AI opponent that if you go back to it, a year later, then the iconography is so good, 20 minutes and maybe 10 minutes, just so you can remember, oh, that's right, this symbol goes with this. And if the artist does a really good job, which of course Tool does, then as a solo player, you're just like, thank you so much. I just need to be able to read.
Or if you have a player board for the AI, having information on that player board to remind you. So I play Glenmore 2 a lot solo, and the AI player Auto Magnificent has her own little board where she builds out all of her stuff. And so when you look at the board, it'll tell you, okay, if she took this action and she took a trade tile, then she also gets a stone. Or if she took this action and she got one of the people tiles, then she gets 2 points. Or, it gives you those clues right on there. So when she takes this tile, she also gets these things, which is super helpful.
Very cool.
And that's another one on my list. I've got to get to Glenmore.
It's so good. If you like Rococo, you will love Glenmore too.
You need the expansion though to get the solo mode. And the expansion, in fact, it just went off. I had it in my Amazon wish list and didn't get it, and now it's gone. It says it's currently unavailable. They have no idea when it's going to come back, and I'm like, oh.
Funtails has bundles available for sale from their Black Friday, and I bought the original base game directly from Funtails and just had it shipped, and then waited on the expansion. I actually played it two-handed solo twice before the expansion came because I couldn't wait because I love that game. Branden knows.
Yes. It's her favorite. It's her number one.
It's my number one.
It's her 10 out of 10.
Yes, it is.
All right. right, so that brings us down to the last bit. So I guess it's my game for tonight, and then we'll wrap it. So the game I'm going to talk about is can be played. It's 1 to 4 players. It can be played with one player as cooperative mode. Like any cooperative game, you can pretty much solo, I've learned. Or it can be played competitive, but competitive it can't be soloed, right? Because you obviously are going to.
But even competitive, it's kind of like multiplayer.
It's
solo.
kind of
it's not,
multiplayer solo.
Not really.
So the name of the game is Lands of Galzyr, and it is a game. It's a narrative adventure game in the world of Dale of Merchants. If you ever played Dale of Merchants, or heard of that. So basically, it is your anthropomorphic animals, because that's what the whole Dale of Merchants.
That's the whole
if you're down with
thing.
being little animal peoples, but basically it's a straight up overland adventure type game, right? With little animal meeples. You've got player boards, which are here. And this overland map, and it's a 2-sided board because it's seasonal. You've got like the spring and summer side, and you've got the fall winter side where it's got snow and stuff. And it all, I guess, kind of matters because you're traveling around the board. You start out with like your own personal quest, then there's like a quest board, and you can take those quests, and they're all for different locations. And you travel to those locations, and there's just this huge supply of numbered cards. And when you go to location, it tells you, okay, go get this card. You read the card. It could lead you to another card, or it could take you to a test where you have to do a dice roll test. And there's all these different colored die. Now, the one that's really cool about this is that on your player board, you track what your attributes are. And there's these 6 different colored attributes. And they have these little holes to put these plastic sort of pegs in there, and it sort of like fills that little portion of the circle. So you can have 1 or 2 of them, and if you have 2 of them, that means you can, during tests, roll 2 of that particular colored die, in addition to the generic black dice, which have like 1 of each symbol. But the colored dice have like multiples of certain symbols that are more aligned with that attribute, so you can have a better shot of succeeding at those types of tests, right? Because when you go into a decision to say, okay, do you want to do this or that? Like, this thing happens, do you want to go to this or do you want to do that? It'll tell you what each option is going to test before you go to that particular test. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go to this one because my character is built more towards that attribute. So then you go there, you would take the test. Now, you get a few rerolls and all that stuff, but you also get gear. You find equipment, you find companions along the way, you bring them. They help you mitigate some of the dice rolls. The game doesn't punish you for failing. You just don't necessarily get the benefits of what you would normally get if you succeeded, right? So you may not get the item, you may not get the money, you may not get the experience and all that good stuff, but you'll still progress in the story. So it doesn't really like hurt you to fail. It just doesn't make it easier on you. The game, every round is like a day, and each game you play takes a different amount of days, and that'll be determined by the initial card you get for the sort of like the overall theme card of the day of the game. And it'll give you like, okay, it's going to be 7 days. So you start, all right, today's Sunday. It's going to end on next Monday. And you'll track every day as it goes along. And as you get like if you fail a test, for example, you may get like the frightened attribute pinned to you. So you get that card, and it'll make you not be able to take certain choices on future tests. But that'll last like 3 days. So then you'll get a timer for that, and you'll count that down in 3 days, and then it goes away because you've gotten over your fear. So you get companions; they'll stay with you for a certain amount of days, and then they'll go away. So you have to kind of try to use them as best you can before they all leave. The whole thing is based on these timers, and they give you all these ways to track it.
Some of your quests are that way too.
Yeah,
it's like you have to meet a certain quest by like a certain day or something.
So it's a straight up, like, I know there's a lot of these sort of narrative type games out, but what's cool about this is we played through a whole cycle as cooperative, and what we found was it's really just sort of just peaceful sitting at a table reading a narrative sort of adventure, not feeling pressure by the dice, not feeling pressure to be moved along. Like, you just go and you enjoy the story, enjoy the lore, enjoy the characters. And then we were done, I'm like, that was a really just pleasant.
Yeah, he won't stop talking about this.
Yeah, like I was like, that was one of the most pleasant, like, just adventure story games that I've played in a long time, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like what Destiny's almost tried to do.
Yes.
But didn't do, right?
Yes.
Because that one is like, not everybody gets to to do their story for one. It's a race to
Wow,
get to the
that's like
end,
a
right?
whole-
And which we could do
yeah.
a whole thing on that, but what that thing was like, it was narrative kind of, and it just didn't really. I didn't get that fulfillment when I played that. Even though I won that game, I actually got to finish my story. But I was like, okay.
Well, but it
I'm
was
done.
like everybody's story was kind of the same.
The same. We're all going after
Anyway.
really the same thing at the end of the day, and then it's like whoever gets to it first. But this one wasn't like going back and forth to locations. It was
No.
like every thing you did kind of would lead to another story, and then it would lead you somewhere else to go to another twist in the story, which would lead you somewhere else. And it was like just really interesting little bits. And it wasn't all app at all. It
What
has
I
an app,
liked-
but not
Yeah, it's like a
mainly.
digital storybook, right? What's cool is that the way that it's like almost like a little ring pie chart with the attributes.
Yeah.
So instead of just mitigating like your dice rolls, some of the companions and other things that you acquire would let you kind of attune your dice to different attributes. So like it could be an attribute that's next to an attribute that you have. So the location where they're located on that little pie ring of attributes is important. And it was neat, and it was something that you can't really do if you're just looking at, okay, I've got these attributes, so I'm going to get this color die, and I just kind of know that. It's neat that it's kind of tracked that way.
It was just a really simple system that I think it would be a good game to sit down and play with your kids, like younger kids that would just not be intimidated. They like to roll dice, they like to adventure, they like to get a cool piece of equipment to put on their character, and now the tests will get easier, and then just look at the new part of my story. And again, it's all like these little animal creatures in this fantasy world. Really cool.
Yeah, and definitely a cool soul experience.
Yeah.
How many of the stories did you get through? Or just
I mean, we played. I think I had 3 quests that I had to do, and I think I ended up doing like 3 main quests. But as you complete one leg of a quest, it'll branch to another leg, another leg. So you end up doing probably in a game. You'll probably do 9 or 10 quests out of the game.
Okay.
In a session.
In one session.
And we played for maybe a little over an hour.
Yeah, there's hundreds of cards, hundreds of cards.
So many cards.
So it was, and again, it wasn't about the app. It wasn't like an app game where you had to type in the app, and then it would tell you a little bit of the story, and then give you the choices, and then then the rest would be done on the dice. So it didn't do everything for you, which I was grateful for, because I don't like when the app sort of take over the game. It was really so you've got all of these cards plus the whole app,
right?
Which again is just giving you a little bit of story and then some decisions that you have to make. So it was really neat.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm liking the kind of surge of warm and fuzzy games that's going around.
I know.
Because right now, I mean, I love heavy things. I really do. I think my brain is just I'm old. I'm crossing the 40 thing, and I'm just no. So I think I would enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just we play so many heavy games. We have Lacrimosa set up on the table right now next to us, and I'm all right, this is a little chunky, but it's not too chunky, right? It's like medium heavy.
Chunk.
Yeah, but I'm all right, I'm game for it. But I know after we play it, I'm gonna be all right, I'm gonna be a little burnt, and I'm so you want to go play a nice lighter game?
To go be a chipmunk.
I'll go be a chipmunk again, or
a forest.
a newt. Yeah, it's all good.
Supposedly the solo's not too bad on that one either.
Lacrimosa.
Lacrimosa.
Okay.
That was one I passed on. I got 3 other games instead. I looked at it and I was like, I love the theme.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love the theme so
into
much.
it.
But I've got 2. I'm like, if I buy a heavier game right now, I'll stress about it. So have to wait
the
till
player
later.
boards in this are some of the coolest I've seen in a while, because it's almost like a notebook that you open, and it's dual layered, and it has slots. So when you stick the cards in from the bottom, they slide up so that only the bottom is revealed, because that's the part that matters. And on the top, when you slide them in, only the tops are revealed.
And it's dual layered.
Dual layered, so it all
when they
slides
slide
in perfectly. It's
so nice.
Oh, beautiful.
it's pretty sleek. Yeah, the design on that's pretty hot. So, but that's it. That completes all the games for solo today. This is a good mix of games, I think. We covered a lot of variety, which is good, because I don't like when we just talk about sort of the same type of games.
Yeah.
Heavy euros.
Yeah. Even though we
Well,
can
and
probably talk heavy
it
euros all
shows
day.
the variety. If you want to play solo, you can pick what type you want to play.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's all kinds of choice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's
Even if it's pinball.
exactly. Even if it is pinball.
Or
All are gonna end up getting it. I know it.
that Christmas one for
That's
sure.
right.
I will
Yeah.
Christmas one for sure.
It's Elf.
Yes,
Branden, I know him.
It looks pretty good.
Lexi,
All right.
Lexi and I love that film. It's so funny.
It's so good.
It is. Oh yeah.
When we were first
Without a doubt.
dating, that whole scene where he comes in his fur coat and he says, "I'm in love and I'm in love and I don't care who knows it." That was like that was the meme. That was the so Elf is a very special film for Lexi and I.
Oh,
man.
that's cool.
Please put on an elf costume for another video coming up. Just
Yeah,
let's
I
just
think
do
we
it.
should do.
Our
It's gonna be at
pre-Christmas
all
video.
aboard GamerCon. I'm gonna come in my Elf
Yeah,
outfit.
complete with the
Yeah.
yellow leotards. I want to see
We're
it.
gonna hold you to that, man.
Oh, you don't want to
Yeah.
see my body in something like that.
Papa
I'm
Elf.
just saying.
Oh,
I mean, Lexi will be purring, but everybody else will be like, no.
Oh.
No, I
look,
think I
thank
do have
you.
an elf outfit. I think I do have that outfit somewhere up.
That would be
You
awesome.
gotta- yeah,
Yeah.
now that you've let that out, we're gonna.
The next panel.
Yes.
We're good. So, look, thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
This was really, really good. Love these panels. I think I have more and more fun every time we do them.
Yes.
Mike, thanks for your first time. You had some really good stuff, man.
That was good fun. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Thanks,
we'll
Mike.
definitely have you back again for sure, man.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Would
so
be awkward if you didn't.
Yeah, it would be, right?
Well, I guess I'm on that.
I don't know. So for those of you at home watching, definitely go out if you haven't yet. Subscribe to every one of these wonderful channels that have been part of this panel over and over again. Definitely support them. They put out some great content all around. So no reason why you haven't. And if you haven't subscribed to us too, that'd be nice as well. So there you go. Thanks again. We hope to see you next time. We'll throw another panel in a couple weeks and go from there. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks a lot.
See ya.
All right, take care.